the events, political events that shaped 2024. And the bottom line is that there's still, the room for improvement is still wide open. The room for credible election is still wide open. And to borrow from Professor Mato's compartmentalization, but I will change the economic, the first one, to bureaucracy. So I will now say, let us begin to look at the stakeholders that man the three different compartments that you have created. So in place of economy, I'll say bureaucracy, legal, and then, the political parties themselves, or the political dispensation. So let's see how they have played, or the role each and every stakeholder, within the electoral process have played, to bring us where we are. And again, let me start with Professor Adeniyi. Let's begin with Inec, for instance. If I remember correctly, it was Kofi Annan that said that, when the electorate believes that an election is credible, that is a catalyst for greater security, it's for good governance and all that. But when credible election is absent, then the electorate will have no recourse to peaceful political change. So what role, or how would you assess the role played by Inec as a major stakeholder in the electoral process in 2024?
Okay, interesting. I think it's the late Justice Apata, as INEC chairman, because I remember I was a correspondent for The Guardian, covering INEC then, who said that the first time he was made chairman of INEC, that he rejected it, but his people came around it. And the reason why he rejected the position was that, when he was offered, was that he saw INEC as a graveyard of reputations. That heading INEC, will be the graveyard of my reputation, meaning that there's nothing I do that will satisfy Nigerians, especially a difficult, politically charged country like ours, where electoral process can be very...
It could also mean another thing.
Yeah.
It also have a different meaning.
That's fine. Yeah, it can be very emotive, So, having said that, it can be a very difficult task managing INEC, and that's why we often see controversy, because electionary process in this country is very, very vociferous, always very trenchantly contested, in ways in which most of the time when losers, are announced, they are not, 99% of the time, they are not likely to agree. They are likely to resort to court. So try as anybody there, might have done, the outcome is going to be met with challenges, So again, that also asks that whoever is going to be there must prioritize credibility and integrity and openness. In the last election, we saw, the preparations in the pre-election stage, all they were trying to do just to make sure that it was transparent, credible, free, and fair, as we always say. But what did we get eventually? Controversy, because there was a so-called glitch, And I thought that could have been remedied if there was enough communication. But accuse me of privileging communication as a communications person, because I just believe that, it can always be an oxygen for good governance, an oxygen for the smooth administration of processes. And communication shouldn't just be on need-to-know basis. Sometimes you can release it as much as possible, information, so that if you don't release it, create suspicion. And that was the only thing, largely, that you see opposition or those who were announced as losers picked upon even until tomorrow. The election was coming out, the result was going in a particular direction, and suddenly you announced a glitch, and because of that glitch, even though the election, no matter how credible the election appeared to be with the reuse of beavers and this other technology, the fact that there was that glitch and the information around it was not properly managed, did a lot of damage.
But there was a glitch. Should that rub off on the credibility of his system?
And that's the point I'm saying. I'm saying that it doesn't. The technology was okay. That's fine. Yes. We know, but I'm saying that the management of the information, was problematic. Was not enough. There were lacunas. There were rumors already going on. There were doubts already flying from one place to the other. Then it was at a later time, when the damage was already done, that was not just one press statement. One, but with every due respect, press statement that came at a particular point in time when the damage was already done, and there were no other communication around it again. So you now left, naysayers, to control the narrative. and it became very difficult thereafter to repair the damage, irrespective of the credibility that actually attended the electioneering process.
Right.
Now, going forward, I'm just saying, going forward, you know, it shouldn't just be about the election proper. There are other angles to an election that we need to pay attention to, and that's why we say election is a multi-stakeholder affair. It's not just for INEC, security is also involved, and there are some other elements in the process.